Welcome to the Amazon's podcast. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's fitness magazine. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to AmazonsFitMag.com. The podcast is brought to you by Maximus Posing Suits, title sponsor. Celebrate your inner warrior. Custom made competition suits. How about that? For victory on every stage, MaximusPosingSuits.com and Murder Weight Apparel. You're not just wearing a clothing brand, you're wearing a mindset. MurderWeight.com and GPS Photography and Video. Why photography and video? Because a photo is worth 1,000 words, video is worth 1,000,000. GPSPhotoandVideo.com and Amazon's Fitness Magazine is a publication of GPS Photography and Video. My guest is an IFBB figure pro and educator. She's a kindergarten teacher. She got her pro card in 2022 at the NPC National Championships, dabbled, believe it or not, and we're going to talk on that, in wellness, where she got third, one spot away from a double pro card. She played softball in college at St. Mary's College, center fielder. Amanda is now preparing to make her pro debut this summer, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, the IFBB figure pro, Amanda Almodovar. What's up?
Having me? Thank you.
Yeah, all of that is you.
That's
all
me.
of that.
That is me. Yeah.
So I gotta ask, you are a kindergarten teacher, and we were talking earlier. I thought you were already out of school. I've been out a week.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. I was all prepared to say, sing the song "School's Out for Summer."
No,
not so much in your case.
Not here in the Northeast. No. There are 7 more wake ups until we are done with school. Praise God. I am counting down the days. It's been an awesome school year. I love my kids. I love what I do, but with me getting so close to prep now and just those early mornings, those late nights, they're hitting. So I'm ready to just be able to put my feet up and be able to relax and not have to be on 24/7 for my 20 little guys. So
what's it like trying to teach with prep brain?
It's difficult. It is definitely difficult. I mean, during nationals, I literally taught up until that Tuesday prior to flying out to Florida. And so it was tough. I was a lot weaker, and especially the grade level. It's not like I teach high school where, the kids understand what I'm going through as well as like I can give them physical. I'm constantly up and down with them. I'm sitting on the carpet with them. I'm doing a lot of gross motor movement with them. So it's a very physically taxing job, as well as just, it takes all of me, like all of my energy and my joy, my efforts always has to be there. So it's definitely exhausting. And that's kind of why I did plan this prep, being that the last couple of weeks would be, in the summertime where I was able to just, I started my prep very far out, at 24 weeks. Now we're kind of dwindling down, and I knew that I would want my pro debut to not be like nationals where the peak week I was still teaching my students. I wanted it really honestly for conditioning purposes, for cortisol purposes, for me to really be home, to just lock in and hone in on that last couple of, pounds of water weight and stress. And also, I know I'm not my fullest self when I am that close. So I just wanted to provide all aspects and variables for them as well as myself. And so I did decide, that the summer is just the best for me to debut. And so I'm excited for that.
No question. But that age group, you mentioned, it's not like high school. They understand.
No.
But that's just it. High school, they understand. And just quite frankly, a lot of them can be assholes. So they know that you're going through something.
How y'all do it? No.
Yeah. It can be no fun, but it is what it is. I teach Adobe Visual Design 1 and 2, as well as broadcasting and programming. And then they got me tapped for computer science AP this fall. So big fun coming, And I don't know if you have the same, but like before we got out, they'll load into Canvas, which they're switching something different from Canvas to this other program. So that's going to be a lot of joy. and it's going to take the place of Canvas and Power School. But you were sitting there, and you see the list of students going into the fall, and it's like, oh no, that joker got to get out of my class now. So
Listen, sometimes you be seeing the student list and you're like, oh, it's gonna be a year.
yeah, hey, I try to get my students. They need to enter the portal.
Yeah.
Everybody talking about the portal and everything. Yeah, they need to enter the portal and go to another class. But we'll see. How has it been with teachers and staffing? Is it just as short as it is in other places?
It
And
is
speaking of the portal, we lost a lot of teachers that jumped in the portal and went to another school. Some, between retirement and just all and out say, hey, this is not for me. What's
sure.
it like up there?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like teacher shortages are just happening everywhere. They just need hot bodies for subs. And like actually a couple weeks ago, I was doing kindergarten screening, so testing my incoming students for next year. Um, and I came back to my classroom. My room was just a mess. Like they're hiring subs that need to be hired, not necessarily due to experience or um, you know, ability, so to speak. It's
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
it is so short, and so it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough.
As you mentioned, that's a whole type of stress that others wouldn't probably have, especially when you're trying to compete. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got the evaluations from all your administrators and everything like that as well. So,
Yeah,
uh,
you have crews and the observations and
yep. And at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Mhm.
Now you played softball in college,
I
and I'm
did.
assuming high school as well, right?
I did, yeah. So I played varsity soccer, varsity softball, and varsity basketball all throughout high school. And
Hmm.
I really loved soccer and softball the most. I wanted to play both soccer and softball in college, but then once I really decided on where I was going. I knew the program was very rigorous in terms of education. I was like, there's no way I'm going to have time to be a double sport athlete as well as to keep up on all my comp exams and everything like
Right.
that. So I got scouted to play softball, and I ended up playing 4 years at Mount St. Mary College in Newburgh, New York. Um,
Hmm.
Absolutely loved it. Was loving being an athlete, loving, wearing the cleats, playing in the dirt, all of the above. And then
Hmm.
my junior year, I just started to think about like, well, now it's like approaching time where I'm going to be graduating and I need to do something with physical activity. I can't let go of my love for being an athlete. And that's kind of where I started dabbling into powerlifting a little bit, a lot of compound movements, squat, bench, deadlift. I knew I was strong, but my coach kind of steered me away from that because I wanted to do a meet, but the both of them, it's a guy, and then my assistant coach was a guy, a female, but they just basically were like, it's very taxing in terms of injury and soreness, and so that's kind of how I went the bodybuilding route, as I felt like it was
Right.
safe. So
You look at it, and I played high school football, and there was always something next, and was blessed enough to go on to play college.
mhm.
But then when you get there and you realize, okay, this is ending, you're never going to play football again. In my case, and I'm assuming you may have suffered through the same thing. Did you go
Yeah,
through like a depression, like, okay, what am I going to do next?
yep.
Because I really wanted to play at this level and at a higher level. Obviously, there's no pro softball league, but even in my case, it really was because like you're not playing anymore. This is your last game ever. Um, how did you deal with that?
That was hard. Honestly, it was the hardest drop off I've ever had with anything because it was my identity in my life for so long.
Hmm.
Especially, I know you can attest to this, is like being a college athlete is so different than being a high school athlete. Like when I played
It
high
is.
school, not the same. It was a family, it was a team. We ate together, we slept together, we traveled together. Like it was just a camaraderie unlike anything I'd ever experienced. And so that became my identity, was being an athlete, waking up for the 5 a.m.s, the double practices and all that stuff. And so losing that, like you said, and realizing like I'm really truly hanging my cleats up for the last time and I will never play in between the lines again. It was hard and I was very emotional about it for quite some time. And that's
Yeah.
honestly why I just went right into bodybuilding. Thankfully, I had picked it up in my junior year, so I already had experience in my first show. And it was kind of an easier drop off because I just kind of hung up the cleats and picked up the heels and the lifting straps, and I kind of swapped one out for the other. But had I not had that, I mean, I had several girls on my team. We would just text back and forth like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like
Mm.
it was definitely hard in terms of identity crisis and not knowing what to do next. And so I'm thankful that bodybuilding was able to fill those shoes for me in a different outlet.
Did you ever want to coach?
So I thought about it. My school district asked me all the time. They want me to do varsity softball and they want me to, but I'm
Yeah.
like, it's difficult because then you're traveling for the practices, and I've always been in prep. And so every year I'm kind of just like,
Hmm.
even in the off season, I mean, I leave work, as you know, and I just go straight to train, and then it's the cardio. So it's like I'm having two careers. I can't have a third. I would love to, of course, eventually when I put bodybuilding down and when I'm a mom, like I would love to be a coach of my daughter or son's teams and things like that and
Hmm.
get back to the sports that I loved so much. But in terms of now, it's just my plate is too full to begin with that I really just don't have the time for it.
And it really is a thing. You almost need to get counseling because you don't prepare to exit. You don't have an exit strategy from sports. And some exit, as you know, at the high school level, never go on to play college. So you realize how blessed you are to go on to the next level and play, but it all comes to an end at one day. And you can say the same thing with bodybuilding. Which do you love more? And do you think you might exhibit the same um, sort of depression, because it really is, leaving the sport of bodybuilding, or have you looked out that far?
Mm-hmm. I haven't looked out that far, and while I might not always be a competitor, I do know I will always be a bodybuilder at heart. And so there will always be seasons where I'm reaching a new, different goal, whether that be, getting back in shape after being a mom, or maybe doing a powerlifting meet one day. Or I know that I will
Hmm.
always have some sort of fitness goal, and bodybuilding and the gym will always be a part of my life. I will never, I mean, look at Arnold, he's still training, like, and Ryan
Hmm.
still train, like, it's always going to be embedded in my soul, to have fitness and wellness be a part of my lifestyle. And so I think that drop off is a little bit easier, where in terms of like team sports, you can't always have that, and it is ripped away from you unless you play in, like, you know a beer league or something like that, but it's
Yeah.
not to the capacity. It will be definitely challenging, but I know that, God will give me the time when it's time to hang it up, and the stage will always be there. So there's no saying when I could leave, come back, etc. I haven't really thought that far in advance, but I do know that it'll
Mhm.
always be a part of my heart, and training will always be something that I do. So I think that drop off is going to be a little bit easier because that's not necessarily a drop off like it was playing college sports.
Along the same lines, do you see yourself coaching uh, bodybuilding? Do you see yourself being a prep coach or posing coach in the fitness industry?
In terms of prep, no. I don't really have that much passion in terms of like dialing someone in for a show, nutrition and all that.
Hmm.
Not my area of expertise. In terms of posing with a quality mentor, I mean, I am posed by Kenny Wallach, and so
Yep.
on the road he ever mentioned to me, like, I would love to mentor you and, work under his ring, it would only be by that I do, just because he's posed me since I was 19. And so, I owe him that respect and that love to just give back to him in any way that I can. And so, I would love to absolutely, take
Right.
girls under my wing and give back to the sport and the art of posing. I think that it's beautiful. I think that I've come a long way with it because of Kenny. And so that's definitely something that I would never say no to in the future.
And of course, you had the same coach as your girls, Agus. Is it right? That's right, Agus.
August, yeah, and
Yeah, and Jess Falborn, Matt Jansen. What's that like to have that? What's it like to be on that team? Because that is a very impressive team. Matt Jansen, the coach, and then opposing coach Kenny Wallach. How does it all come together?
yeah. So actually, August and Jess are coached by Justin Jacoby. They are camp
Okay.
champs. They're coached by
Okay.
Justin. I'm personally coached by Matt Jansen, and Matt and I have been with each other coming up on 3 years in November. He picked me up shortly after nationals, seeing obviously, the potential that I did have. I did have a friend that knew through him, so he had to put me in contact, and it honestly has been the best thing that I could possibly ever ask for in terms of my career. I was only with one other coach prior, and then I
Okay.
switched to Matt, and I will never change that. Matt has learned my body in 3 years more than I've ever known it myself. He is very communicative with me, very much so a leader and intelligent in what he's doing. And I've honestly never just, it's very hard for bodybuilders and just for type A people and teachers like me to
Yeah.
give, surrender that trust to someone else who's telling me what to do and I actually listen to it. And so Matt really was that first coach and first person for me to be like, okay, I fully surrender, I fully trust whatever he says goes, and it has worked wonders in terms of growing my physique and bringing it in peeled the way that it needs to be. And so having him and Kenny as my team and that
Hmm.
triangle, like it honestly is incredible. I mean, Kenny and Matt have a great relationship. The three of us have a great relationship. Matt and I spoke earlier. He's very happy with where we're at, and we're going to continue to push here. So knowing that I have two of the most prestigious coaches in the industry makes me feel honestly humbled and honored to be amongst such an incredible roster of athletes. And
Hmm.
with that, I hold myself to a high standard and knowing that I'm just going to trust the plan, follow suit, and really do the job that I know that we can do as a team. So it's
Yeah.
honestly exciting too, having my girls on Camp Jansen, and we all represent the same, you know,
Hmm.
sort of
Well, all y'all
athlete.
had the same posing coach in Kenny Wallach, yes?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So there's a tie in there.
Hmm.
What has your posing coach told you as far
So
as when it comes to what do you need to work on? How long do you pose a day? What's your routine like in that regard?
So right now, Kenny has me posing anywhere from like 10 to 20 minutes a day. We don't overwork it. I'm very firm on like honestly overposing can also get you into really bad habits, especially being so lean and your body's so fatigued already. So I'll run through my
Hmm.
round in the morning, and I'll do my routine. I've gotten much better with it as I come up and come closer. As a younger athlete, I did not pose often. Thankfully, I have not been horrible with it because Kenny has molded me since I was 19. But I remember first walking in that posing room and he looked at me for the first time and he was just like, "You have potential, honey. Like you really
The
do." And
aesthetics and everything was there, huh?
yeah, just hearing it from him and knowing how tough of a critic he is and what he says truly holds a lot of value to me. Um, I'm blessed for that. And he's made critiques and focused on angles and really like this new routine that we've crafted for the pro debut really
Hmm.
portrayed my shape to a whole different level than it did at nationals. Something that I work on and that we worked on actually this morning in our session was not like staying condensed, staying opened up, and really just taking up space. And so that's something that we're working on right now, as well as just a little better of a more feminine and flowy walk. And
Hmm.
with those little minute touches, I mean, this handcrafted routine that he has he's created for me for the debut is something I'm really excited to uncover. So
That's great. So when you look at different other divisions, and like I said, you dabbled in wellness while you were trying to get your pro card. You get that feedback, and they say, "Hey, you should be wellness, or you should move up to women's physique." What do you see yourself as? Just figure? Would you move up? How would you handle that situation?
sure. So I've always started with figure. I loved figure from the start. I didn't start anywhere else. It was a category that I chose from the get. I saw Sid Gillen and I said, I love her shape. Um,
Hmm.
Also, though, growing up, like I did think Dana Lynn Bailey's shape and size was beautiful too.
Yes.
I've never been opposed to women's physique at all. I think they're both very beautiful divisions. That being said, obviously I was on the smaller side, and so I've stayed in figure. And it wasn't until I did Easterns as a warm up regional a couple weeks prior
Hmm.
to nationals that I got on stage and I ended up, going up to Steve and asking him like, "What's your feedback? What do you think I can fix for moving into nationals?" And he's like, "You're a wellness pro. Like, I totally think you should cross over." And I was like, "Me? What? Like, me with my soldier walk?" Like, I just, I didn't see it. I didn't, but then obviously looking back at the photos, me in comparison to all the other figure girls, I looked like a sumo wrestler amongst them all. Like, I just had size, I had shape on them. And of course, my legs is something that are very, very dominant. And
Right.
so I had spoken to Matt and Kenny. I called them right away after regionals. This was like 4 weeks out of nationals. And I told them, like, this is Steve's feedback. And they were like, well, how do you feel about it? And I said, I'm not opposed to it. I just have to get a different suit. And Kenny and I will have to work on the posing. And so
Hmm.
thankfully, they both were just like, we totally see what he's saying. Let's give him the best of both. And let's see how we do in both. Like, this is no harm to us. And so Kenny and I literally, in just like 2 short weeks, he just showed me the routine for wellness, and I got a different suit, and did very, very well in a very big class of wellness girls. So it was exciting. It was a beautiful division. Definitely a little bit more so out of my comfort zone in terms of like
Hmm.
sass and sexiness and just like beauty appeal when it comes to that. So it took a little bit for me to transfer over, but once I did practice, it was good.
Hmm.
Obviously, I ended up getting my pro card in figure. And so stepping off the stage, I did go up to Steve and ask him, well, you asked me to do both divisions.
Steve
You
Weinberger. Hmm.
Yeah, this is where I
Hmm.
fell. And he said basically that less work would lie in me staying with figure because it would essentially be just me holding the muscle that I have, growing obviously in specific areas, and then just getting more conditioned. Whereas for wellness, I'd have to stop training upper body really overall because my body was already getting to the point where it was too big for that division. Uh,
Hmm.
and so my back and shoulders is something that like I did not want to get rid of. I love upper body training, and so with him and Tyler's feedback, I just decided obviously to stay in figure. That being said, Matt and I grew like a weed over this off season, and so it's funny as I walk around and everyone's like, women's physique,"
Hmm.
and I'm like,
Yep.
no, not the plan as of now. But it's happened several times before where like in the past, figure girls have grown out of the division, and they go and they do their debut and they're told to change. And so I am not opposed at all to switching divisions. I think women's physique is an absolutely beautiful division. I love that it's without heels, and I love that it's a longer routine. Um, but definitely going to debut in figure and then see where that takes me. But that being said, I am only 26. So,
That's true. You got
yeah.
so much time left in the game.
And I
You really
love,
do.
so it's kind of a challenge for me mentally to have to think about, if I want to stay in the figure division because of
Hmm.
size already, I'd essentially have to just maintain and not grow and just
Right.
refine. And so that's something that, Matt, Kenny, and I will have to look at moving forward based off of the feedback that we receive, to see if that's possible. Because, like, we didn't mean to grow the way that we did, and we're already kind of borderline. Everyone thinks that I'm a different division. So we'll see what it looks like when we shred down because it will definitely
Hmm.
look different. Um, and we'll kind of see and go with what the judges are saying. But like I said, being only 26, training as hard as I do, and having the muscle mass and shape that I already have, it's not inevitable. And I cannot be naive to the fact that I will, at some point, probably have to be doing women's physique just because my muscles
Right.
only densify from here. So
No more heels. That's a plus, right? Or do you care?
I don't listen. It took me a while to learn how to walk in them, but I'll kick them off.
I
So
guess best example I could give is Ashley Jones, who has gone to the Olympia in three different divisions. Now her third division being women's bodybuilding. So
yeah.
the most important thing, uh, athletes got to listen to the coaches, to their coaches, and listen to the judges, and go on from there. Because
Yep.
as fans, we'll have you all over the place. We'll have
Hmm.
you in wellness, have you in women's bodybuilding. So, and like I said, you're just 26. You're literally just getting started. Um, so you got your pro card in 2022.
Yeah.
You were what, 23 then, 24?
Yeah.
So enjoy the ride, because you're blessed to be this good and scary good at this point and just to be 26 years old. The sky's the limit. You got a great coach, a great team put together. Now you just got to just relax and go work, man.
Yeah.
That's what the bless. That really is a blessing.
Yeah.
When you look at it in figure, one of the supreme poses that you always keep hearing about, or they keep going over, the V taper. Explain exactly when fans hear from the judges that athlete had such a great V taper. What are they talking about?
So the V taper is essentially the shape of the X frame that you have. And so that V taper
Hmm.
is really what they want to see in figure is very beautiful round delts tapered
Hmm.
down. Their lats are coming down to a really, really small waist. And so that's something that they're really looking for in figure is that tiny, tiny waist coming out to that nice sweeping quads, and really creating that X factor and that X frame. So very, very important in that division.
Definitely. During the comparison rounds, are you prepared to pose a long time? I know we talked about posing, but you get out there on stage, you're in first call out dead center. There's somebody else out there beside you and it's close, and they start moving you around, swapping you around, going through all the poses. What goes through your head during that time when you're out there going through that lineup and you get called first call out, dead center, and now they're trying to see really, are you dead center or are you not?
Yeah.
What goes through your mind when you're going through that?
That is a feeling unlike any other. I mean, those lights hit you, and I essentially kind of black out. But once I know that I'm in first call outs and they're really comparing me, I'm like, it's go time. It is time to work. And so it's not essentially, honestly, for me, and Kenny and I spoke about this today. He's like, when you get tired, you overpose, right? Like it's not
Mm-hmm.
saying relax, I get tense, my shoulders start to come up. So, really, for me, in my brain, I'm like, relax, let
Mm-hmm.
it, let your, flow, just keep flowing. So, staying out of my head, obviously, and just hitting my shots the way that I've hit them routine every single time. Kenny and I practice those rounds. He'll have me doing holds. And so at that point in my head, it's all just like, this is what you worked for. Like this is what they're comparing you at. And it's honestly exhilarating because your heart rate is just like you're on the inside, you're screaming, but on the outside, you have to stay composed and
Yeah, right.
stay staying loose is like the biggest thing for me personally. Um,
Mm-hmm.
tensing up because of the excitement and the adrenaline that comes in being compared.
I mean, you got to have that poker face. You
Yeah.
know, you get
Hmm.
first call out, you get all overjoyed. Talk to me about the other side of the coin. You go out there, you're not first call out, you're in second call out. How
Hmm.
do you manage those emotions? If that's being the case,
Hmm.
and you obviously been there before in such your short career, but
Sure.
what goes through your head when that happens?
Obviously, that is not what any athlete desires. Of course, we are in a sport where we are competitive athletes, and we come to work and we come to train hard to earn everything we want. Regardless of that, and what I always tell myself as well as other people is, um, getting there is a win in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing a package like that is a win because not many
Mm-hmm.
people can do that. And so, God forbid, I am in second call outs, and that is the case. I will be maintaining that same smile as if I'm in first call outs, and I will not let that show. And so,
Right.
it's a nice thing that I'm a teacher because good days or bad days, you have to walk through that front door and you have
Great
to
point.
on. And so, thankfully for me, I'm in a career where I don't have any other, like, I have to be the light and I have to just put on that brave face regardless of the emotions that are happening inside of me. And so, that has mimicked in the past. And when I'm not center stage, I still show up with that same energy. I still hit my shots in the same type of light, and I will still keep that same smile on my face because regardless, I have to show up and I have to continue to compose myself as a champion, whether I am or whether I'm not.
Composure is critical.
Yeah.
because all the lights on you, you're live streaming, everybody's looking, and you lose composure.
Sure.
You know, I guess not so bad if you win. Oh, she knows she's got that because you
Right.
want to exude confidence. But at the same time, when you didn't do well and you make that face or you lose
Yep.
composure, and everybody's on you. It's like, oh, look, she's pouting. She doesn't know how to handle it when
Yep.
she's not winning. Everybody knows. Oh, when you're winning, oh, okay, everybody's good. They know your reaction is going to be in that. But when you get down or you get uh, and you don't do as well as you would hope, then everybody's looking to see how you handle yourself when you have a bad day.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, One
Absolutely.
of the
It's
most important things in your life is your faith. Talk to me about how important faith and fitness is to you.
faith is everything, honestly. I mean, my journey with faith has come through a long, long, long way of a past of, and I'm very real and raw about it on my page, as well as to anyone who asks me. Um, I,
Hmm.
I come from a past separated parents, a lot of childhood trauma, such as everyone has their story, right?
Right.
Um, a lot of eating disorders. I went through self harm, and so um, a lot of depression and anxiety was prevalent in my life as a young adult, and I really chalk that up to not knowing my identity in Christ and not knowing my identity as a woman of God. And so, my mom, well, I was born and raised Catholic. She did
Hmm.
take me to church here and there. I did, I got baptized as a child. I did my communion and all that stuff. In high school was really when I went through a lot with mental health. I actually was admitted into a hospital for quite some time for, suicidal thoughts and self harm and all those things. I really went through it. I went through years of therapy, years of medication. I have been off for many years. I've been in recovery. I have not relapsed, so that's something that I'm blessed for. And that kind
Hmm.
of was when my relationship with God really started and just got stronger. Um, I do identify as a Christian now. And so it has honestly been the biggest thing in my life to just surrender my life to Him and surrender my every move and every step to his guidance, because I remember being that young broken girl and not knowing who I was and not knowing that I was enough and always striving to work harder and be more, when in reality I just needed to realize that I was enough already in him. And so when that ties into fitness, I mean, that's why I have the grit and I can stand in second call outs and I can still have a smile on my face because God.
Yes.
And so while I might not have a nice shiny medal around my neck, that's not why I'm doing this. And
Right.
I tell people, like, this debut is not a representation of me. This debut is a representation of God working through me, because for some reason he wants me on that stage. And
Right.
whether to win, whether it be to save one soul or to share my story with someone, he is using me as a light and as a vessel, and I cannot take that lightly. So honestly, my faith in him has been everything. And it's caused a lot of doubt and anxiety and fear and stress and anger to just be released, because I know that he has a greater plan, whether that be to go to Olympia this year or to just have a debut where I can celebrate the fact that I got there. It
Yes.
is all part of his provision, and so I fully trust in him. I fully trust in what he's doing in my body and what he's allowing me to do through me. He's working through me.
Hmm.
So it's something that has been the most beautiful relationship that I could ever possibly ask for.
Just allow God to use you as a vessel, and
Yeah.
no question, you're going to inspire others, and very well, and bring them to Christ as well. So,
Yeah. That's our
big
goal.
part of it.
That's our goal here. That's
Yeah.
that's our purpose, and that is my purpose. And I have surrendered so much control to just his will and his way. And my everyday prayer is just that he uses me, no matter
Yeah.
for who, no matter for what. I just want to be a vessel of his light and love, because his grace has been more than enough to save me from the pits of despair. And
Right.
if he pulled me out, I can pull other people out. And I will do that with my story. And it's not about the glitz and the glam, it's about my light shining through what I'm doing and the fruits of that labor. So,
That's great. It really is. And as hard as it is, being a teacher and do what you do, um, it has no. I mean, it's just even more. demanding to do it as a Christian, because every day once you say I'm a Christian, everybody's like automatically going, oh, really? Look at her, you know.
Mhm.
So don't ever question your faith. Keep praying, and you're gonna be fine. You just gotta hold on, because faith is the whole thing that brought me through. You know, I can attest to the same thing. A lot of things that I went through as well.
Praise God.
So that being said, pro debut this summer. I'll just go ahead and ask it again. What show?
The question everyone's asking.
what show are you doing? Give me something. What do you
Well,
look out there? There's only so many left. Right now, we are coming up on 16 weeks before the Olympia. So many more shows for people to qualify and opportunities.
yeah.
What's your roadmap? Can you say?
What I will disclose is it will be in July. So
Okay,
that's what I'll give you.
July.
I mean,
Uh,
I will be competing for
there's
the summer show.
Atlanta. There's Chicago, Tampa. That's August. Oh, that narrows the target down a little bit. So that's great.
We'll see. We shall see. We
So
shall see.
when you decide, please let me know.
Yes, I
And
definitely
looking forward
will.
to talking to you again. And
Yeah.
I'll let you out of here on this. Going back to education and being a teacher, um, where do you see that going? Do you want to teach high school? Do you want to stay at the kindergarten level? Do you want to go into admin? Maybe
Mm-hmm.
be a principal?
Mm-hmm. My goal or my insight as of now, I would not go above third grade. So I'm
Mm,
certified birth through sixth grade and special education. So
hmm
I really have a very wide range, as well as I have a master's in literacy, so I can be a literacy coach. I could also be an AIS reading teacher. So that's something, if I ever want to pull out of the classroom and do some more small group stuff, that is an option for me. As of now, I don't see myself going above third grade because your girl does not have the patience for the attitude with those middle schoolers or high schoolers. I praise those teachers because I'm like, your girl's mouth is
yes.
too slick.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta reel it back in. So I love my little ones. I love my kindergartners as of now. Eventually, I would love to do first grade or
hmm
second grade. I think that kindergarten's a very difficult year because some of them come without preschool. So they come in not even knowing how to sit in a chair, how to hold a
Yeah.
pencil. So seeing that growth from the beginning to end is so beautiful. However, it is
Yeah.
very, very exhausting. And I do love the end of the year when they do start writing journal sentences, and it's more teachable um,
Mm-hmm.
academically rather than behaviorally and a lot of social skills. So I'm not opposed to going up. We will see what happens. I'm kind of playing both careers here and
That's
seeing
it.
if eventually down the line, pull back a year from teaching full force with bodybuilding, let it to
hmm
the fall off, and then go back. Like it's
Do
really
you
going.
see yourself being a principal?
I don't think I see myself in admin. No, my heart's
hmm
in that way. My heart's not as of now.
Public.
I never
hmm
say, but
I got you. So threefold: public education versus private education, where parents are paying tuition, obviously, and then of course homeschool. What is the best environment with that
it
you
really,
feel?
yeah, it really comes down to choice. Um, There are pros and cons to every single level. I think that with today's day and age, it is very difficult to be
hmm
a child in the public school. I mean, you are exposed to everything. And I can say firsthand with my 5 and 6 year olds, they come nice and squeaky clean and they don't leave that way. They leave with
Right.
things that they're hearing fifth graders on the bus saying inappropriate things and they're saying it in my classroom. And so
Yeah.
I do understand the benefits of homeschooling as well. When you do homeschool, obviously, you do have to pull your child and make sure that they're in gymnastics or in baseball or socializing with those peers so that they can have that,
hmm
collaborative experience as well. But I really don't think there's one answer that fits all. I mean, no matter what, you're going to have an area that's just like, I don't know about that, or we're going to have to work on
hmm
this. And that's just part of life and learning, honestly.
Well, I applaud you because when you're getting the you're essentially the first teacher that they've ever seen.
Yeah.
And so they're coming in, with a lot of separation anxiety from their parents. They
Mm-hmm.
come there the first day of school and they're crying, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. And at the same time, a lot of them come in, they haven't learned discipline yet. And so I applaud you. And I don't think there's any level you can say, oh, it's better to be this teacher, better to be that grade level teaching. Teaching is hard, period. But it's for those that take the sacrifice or make the sacrifice and stand up to the challenge, because you always remember your teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I remember all of mine. So
Yeah.
I
Everlasting,
applaud you.
everlasting impact.
Amanda Dovar, kindergarten teacher, figure pro, maybe wellness, maybe women's physique over time. We'll just have to see.
Let's see where I land.
Continue to have fun with it, though. That's the
Thank
main thing. And enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. So thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
you so much for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Not at all. Talk soon. Coming up on Monday, Nikki Politi at 6 p.m. She's an NPC co-promoter, as well as an NPC bikini competitor. So I'll get to talk to her to see what's going on in the world of bikini and pick her brain on the upcoming shows in Pennsylvania Muscle. So really looking forward to that. I'm Glenn Young. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all the new subscribers to the website, those that have renewed their subscriptions. Thanks to all those subscribers to the YouTube channel and also all the social media. I will leave you with this. Not everybody's going to be for you, but it doesn't mean that everybody's against you. But it does mean that all of them are watching. So give them a show. We will see you soon.